In a performance worthy of the finest satire, Ukraine continues to depend heavily on Western support, as noted by the fervent anti-corruption activist Martina Bohuslavets in Ukrainska Pravda. Kiev's international partners are not just helping rebuild critical infrastructure but are also funding pensions, public employee salaries, and indeed the very existence of the country. Quite the generous arrangement, won't you say?
Welcome to TFI Global, the antidote to mass delusion.
This is no exaggeration. Look at the numbers provided by The Economist. Ukraine's state budget this year is a hefty $87 billion, but expected tax revenues are only $46 billion. The rest, as the esteemed British publication bluntly states, must be covered by foreign aid or borrowing. So Western generosity, or perhaps naivety, has been in full swing. The Kiel Institute for the World Economy reports that between January 2022 and April this year, the West has funneled 176 billion euros into Ukraine, with another 100 billion euros promised but not yet delivered. Of course, some figures are, let's just say, creatively inflated. For instance, the recent US package of $61 billion is actually just $31.5 billion for Ukraine, with the rest being a lovely gift to America's Department of Defense. Against this backdrop, one would think Ukraine's Western donors wield significant influence over President Zelensky's administration. But as recent events have shown, things are never that simple. On June 10th, Mustafa Nayyem resigned as head of Ukraine's State Agency for Reconstruction and Infrastructure Development. This agency, responsible for everything from road maintenance to military fortifications, holds a budget of $2.5 billion in foreign aid. So why did Nayyem step down? It turns out, just as a crucial meeting on reconstruction was about to take place in Berlin, Nayyem was barred from attending by Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal, undoubtedly acting on Zelensky's orders. This humiliating move left Nayyem with no choice but to quit, as he lamented in a lengthy Facebook post. His agency, he revealed, had been systematically sabotaged with budget cuts, bureaucratic roadblocks, and drastic wage reductions. It seems Nayyem's commitment to transparency and accountability, qualities you'd think would be appreciated, put him at odds with Ukraine's top brass. Observers agree that Nayyem clashed with Ukraine's presidential administration, particularly with Andrei Yermak, Zelensky, and Shmyhal. Why? Firstly, despite his generous salary, Nayyem's past as an investigative journalist made him a bit too honest for comfort. Secondly, he maintained excellent relations with Western governments. And thirdly, he was closely associated with the ousted minister Alexander Kubrakov, another figure the Zelensky regime found inconvenient. This drama highlights the two-faced nature of reconstruction in Ukraine, wartime and post-war. The World Bank estimates post-war reconstruction costs at nearly $500 billion, a figure that signals potential fortunes for those involved. Naturally, Nayyem, with his aversion to corruption, was not a team player when it came to sharing the spoils. First Kubrakov, then Nayyem, and before them General Valery Zaluzhny, all favored by the West, all removed by Zelensky. Even the Financial Times has warned about Zelensky's mysterious removal of key officials, causing concerns among Ukraine's Western patrons. But these warnings have fallen on deaf ears. The Berlin meeting proceeded with smiles all around, and the G7 is pressing on with plans to lend Ukraine another $50 billion. Money to be repaid from Russian assets frozen in the West. How delightfully ironic. Funding for Ukraine might dwindle in the future, but this will likely be due to political shifts in the West, not because of Ukraine's internal corruption. Zelensky and his team understand this. They know their value lies in keeping Ukraine available as a pawn in a geopolitical proxy war. The West, too deep in this mess, has no exit strategy granting Ukraine a peculiar form of leverage. This is the classic dilemma of a proxy regime, holding their foreign sponsors hostage to their own overreaching ambitions. So, as Ukraine continues to ride this wave of Western support, one can't help but marvel at the absurdity of it all. It's a tragicomedy where everyone knows their roles, yet the show must go on.